Hi, welcome to Swayze TV. My name is Phil, and I'm just someone with another YouTube channel. I hope you're feeling well today. I'm blessed and highly favored, and I'd like to bring you some information that I think that might help you down the line. Today, we want to talk about a subject that we started in the previous video titled "Buying Land in the Gambia Ain't Easy." In that video, we discussed my attempts to buy land in the land of Gambia. I think it came to 5 attempts, and in the last attempt, in the last video, we were waiting on how that transaction was going to come about. Well, I can tell you that that transaction did not go through. We were dealing with a firm by the name of Global Property, and as it turned out, they were not able to acquire the land that they had initially want to sell to the public. As a result, I was not able to pick up that land, which is a disappointment because I fell in love with the location of it. I thought it was very good location, and I thought that would add value to the investment. And I really did hope that that transaction was able to go through. It was not, and I'll give you the reasons why. Ultimately, the reason why is because Global Property wasn't able to produce the land that we had contractually uh, uh, agreed to do. But there are some things that I could have did that perhaps could have ensured that that transaction had a higher probability of going through. So, firstly, as I had discussed in the previous video, um, I did not have an attorney when I signed the contract for that plot. Having stated that, that doesn't mean that the contract was any less valid. It just means that I didn't have the right information, or could have had some more wisdom into what the contract actually said and what the contract would have produced at the end of the terms of a contract. In a 4 month period, they were to provide me with a plot of a certain size and a plot in an area that I had based on their advertisement off of their website, off of the listing off of their website. Um, they were not able to come up with that particular land, and they were, however, able to acquire land very not near it, but in the general area. In the general area, but it was not as desirable as the um, initial location. So the first thing I could have done is, of course, enlisted the help of an attorney and had him go through the contract. When I'd spoken to three attorneys, actually, after the fact, they had told me that they would have not have recommended that I sign that contract for various reasons. I knew it was lease. I knew the contract was a little, uh, let's say, not transparent, but it was a little loosely worded, right? Um, Companies will do that to give them some leeway in providing the fulfilling a contract. And I didn't hold them in a stringent fashion in terms of the details of the contract because I wanted to give them the opportunity to at least have a chance to fill the contract. I thought if in the long run, if they were able to provide me with what they were selling me, that it would be good for both parties. But in this case, they were not able to do that. So, one, get yourself a good attorney. Two, I think what would have helped is this is if I was able to check references, check reviews on global properties. Sometimes you can get information about the people you're dealing with or the firms you're dealing with if you can find a review of that person or that firm. Turns out there was some pretty negative reviews about a couple of customers that a couple of customers posted that may have dissuaded me from going with that particular firm Given that, let me just say that Global Properties was able to provide me with a home, uh, and they were able to. I was able to rent a home from their website, and it was for the most part it was okay location. It was for a decent price, so I did get some things out of Global Property. They also showed me some other sites that I think may have worked out. They were a little bit expensive, but nonetheless, my point is that Global Properties probably has gone through quite a few transactions, and I can't say that you're not going to get a good deal from them, or you're not going to be able to do a transaction with them. In my particular case, I was not able to do a transaction with them, though. So I think having a good attorney to start with and checking references would have helped in this case. I think it could have not put trust in the reputation of a particular individual or company. In certain parts of the world, you can't do that because of the rules and regulations. Kind of force the best of the companies to act in a way that you can generally, and there's a high percentage chance that you're going to get a transaction that you desire if you go with those companies in certain areas based on those regulations. In this particular case, in the Gambia, I don't think that the regulations were such that you could get that high percentage of success when dealing with people because the regulations are kind of loose in a sense, especially when it comes to how real estate agents are licensed and or registered. And I have to do my homework, but I don't know if they have any regulations in that regard for real estate agents. But I think that me trusting in a name was not the way to go in this case. And I don't know if that's my fault. It's just maybe enough information was out there. And had I had a lawyer, that would not have probably been the case anyway. But it certainly would have helped, right? So we're talking about three solid things that you need in order to make a successful transaction go through. And so, from as a foreigner or diasporan, as I would like to be known, when we're seeking opportunities outside of our own country, that if we don't know any given individual, you have to go with the individual who has something to lose, or at least are bound by some kind of rule, set of rules. So in some countries, you have registrations, various types of registrations and licenses that people have to keep. And if they care about that registration or license, then they're certainly not going to, or they're going to act in a manner that's going to keep the license or registration. So in this case, the government not having that requirement certainly doesn't help. You have a lot of so-called bad apples, especially in the Gambia. I mean, it seems on a weekly basis somebody's being arrested for selling selling to multiple sellers, same plot to multiple sellers, that kind of thing. And it's happening way too often. It happens all over Africa, but it happens all over the world too. I can't just say Africa. It happens all over the world. But I can say that the Gambia might be one of those places where you just have to be extra careful. And as a foreigner, you have to be not just extra careful, but extra careful. Um, the other thing I would recommend, though, the other thing I would recommend is that you come visit the place you want to invest in, right? Come visit that place and see if it's the type of environment that you can thrive in. Um, you'll know right off the bat whether it's the type of environment that you can thrive in. It's a gut feeling that you'll get when you're doing regular day, doing business on a daily basis. And that's ordinary things, right? If it's easy to do ordinary things, then you can get an idea of how the infrastructure flows. But if it's hard to do the easy things, then how much easier is it going to do the hard things? Now you can always throw money at the problem and hire somebody. There's your third party, and third parties work quite well in these particular situations because they have an incentive to produce, and if they don't meet that incentive, then they don't make any money. So um, it has its own built-in regulations. So if you're looking for land and you have a third party looking for you or trying to acquire that land for you, then that person's food or rent is dependent on whether they succeed or not. So, and what kind of agreements you set up with that person is up to you. Honestly, it's up to you. So, but again, in this particular case, in the Gambia, it certainly would have helped to have somebody. I think ultimately, as I suggested in the last video, you'll need to know somebody personally. And what I mean by that is if you have a coworker where you live, outside Africa where you live, maybe a neighbor, a church member, academic associate who's from that area, who can act as a third or fourth party. Well, then you have some certain level of assurance because if something should go wrong with that particular transaction, then they're going to be held in a different light because they're in a different environment, and you're certainly going to be able to see them and talk with them and communicate with them. And I don't want to say hold them accountable, but certainly ultimately you would want to some if something goes wrong, you want someone to be held accountable. But what I mean loosely is that you have a connection and it's closer to you, and it's a connection that you can, it's a connection that you can feel and digest, and you know that you can be able to um, go to that person if something should not go wrong, or that person can be able to provide you with wisdom and communicate with you along the way, so you know exactly what to expect. And let's face it, the unknown is where you usually get your trepidation or where the most aggravation comes out of is not knowing. So if you know someone and they know, then they can tell you, so you know, and then now you have that information. You don't have to worry about the transactions anymore. So they're very important, and I don't know how you can do that, but you can start with an academic arena where a certain country is going to congregate, or maybe you can go to a community uh, that in your neighborhood that has people from that particular country and make a friend or so. Um, Facebook, I imagine, although I'm not particularly sure, but Facebook might be a good source for that. But I don't want to lead you to something that's not going to be fruitful. I'm just saying that explore your different options, but make that connection because that connection is going to help you. It's going to maybe save you money. And if you have to you have to compensate that person, go ahead and do it. It's going to save you some aggravation down the line. Um, and those type of transactions have a higher percentage of going through because of your proximity to the person. So that's what I would say. Those are the reasons I would give why the transaction didn't go through with in the Gambia. I'm not saying it's impossible to buy land in the Gambia. Certainly not. Again, money has a way of working its way through the rough spots, and making things a whole lot easier for all the wrong reasons. But it is way it is, and so I would say that if you have those resources, then that's good. But if you're a person like myself who doesn't have unlimited means or great means, then you want to do the simple things first, and then that'll walk you through the process a little bit uh, less eventful. So I didn't buy land in the Gambia, and that's okay. My plan had always been to come to Ghana, and that's where I'm stationed, living now. So I'm still here. I just didn't stay there to see if I could acquire land. I still could try to acquire land in the Gambia, but I'm not sure how that would go. Being here, I'm certainly closer to the Gambia and could fly there and secure land if I want to do that. But we'll discuss other options in the upcoming videos for the diasporans. We want you to come over here and explore and fulfill some of your dreams of exploring and perhaps provide you with options to better quality of life. I do believe you can find that quality of life, a better quality of life here as opposed to the U.S. But that's up to the individual, and it has to do a lot with your motivation and your experiences that'll determine whether that can happen or not. But it's certainly, I'm here to tell you, it certainly can happen that you can achieve that high quality of life. It's just, it's a process and it's not easy. It's not easy. So that's my main point. It's not easy, but it can be achieved, and you know, with a little bit of help, I'm sure you go, sure work out fine for you. And I'm here to help. I'm not in this for the money, so uh, any fulfillment I can get out of it by helping others would be just fine. And so I'll be happy to do that. To close this video, I would like to reflect on the recent loss of life in the New York area, building fire that took the lives of many Gambians. When I was in the Gambia, I was able to talk to a lot of Gambians, and they are uh, nice, tranquil, and gentle people. And my heart was touched when I heard that the number of people had lost their lives in that fire. It's very sad, and when you think about it, they were just simply trying to do what other diasporans are trying to do by coming to Africa, and that's achieve a higher quality standard of living. And so that really touched my heart, and I just want to go ahead and reflect on that for just a moment at the end of the video. And I want to thank you for watching. If you like what you hear, then go ahead and comment and like the video. We have other videos, nature videos, videos to read by, exercise, sleep by, tranquil nature videos taken in the Gambia. I plan to do a little bit of that in here in Ghana as well. So if you like that, then go ahead and view those videos. And I will talk to you later. You have a blessed day. And again, here's a moment of reflection.